All right, good evening and welcome to the City of Sunbury Council meeting. It is May 15th, 2024, 7:30 p.m. Would you please join me in a moment of silent prayer and the Pledge of Allegiance? Amen. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Roll call, please.
Mayor St. John,
Yes.
Mr.
Here.
Capel,
Here.
Mr. Ayer, here, Mr. Neff,
Here.
Mr. Grumney,
Here.
Mr. Martin,
Here.
Mrs. Cooper, here, and present.
All right, we had a meeting on May 1st, 2024. It was a regular meeting looking for a minutes approval. Looks like we got a motion by Murray Neff.
A second.
Second by John Grumney. Discussion? Roll call.
Mr. Neff,
Yes.
Mr. Grumney,
Yes.
Mr. Martin,
Yes.
Mrs. Cooper,
Yes.
Mayor St. John,
Yes.
Mr. Ayer,
Yes.
Mr. Capel,
Yes.
7 yeas.
All right, good deal. We also had a meeting, May 8th, 2024, special meeting minutes. Murray, you're not going to be able to approve this one. Is there a motion for approval on the special meeting minutes?
I made the motion.
We got a motion by Mr. Martin.
A second.
Mr. Grumney seconded that. Two fine young men. Thank you very much. Roll call.
One of those meetings.
Ms. Martin,
Yes.
Mr. Grumney,
Yes.
Mrs. Cooper,
Yes.
Mr. Neff,
Abstain.
Mayor St. John,
Yes.
Mr. Ayer,
Abstain.
Mr. Capel,
Abstain.
3 yeas.
All right, good deal. We're on the visitor section. I do have a proclamation I would like to read. I have two proclamations. One is for National Police Week, and the other one is for National Public Works Week. And we also have some of our fine city representatives representing our public works team and our police department, and these are for you. So I'm going to do the police first. We'll come up, get a photo op, and then we'll do the public works. Proclamation declaring May 12th through the 18th of 2024 National Police Week in the City of Sunbury. Whereas the federal government has designated May 15th, 2024 as Peace Officers Memorial Day, and the week in which it falls as National Police Week, as the result of a joint resolution which was signed by President John F. Kennedy in 1962. And whereas as a nation, we rely on law enforcement officers to keep our neighborhoods safe, enforce our laws, and respond in times of crisis. And whereas the members of the Sunbury Police Department play an essential role in safeguarding the rights and freedoms of the citizens of our community and provide a vital public service. And whereas there are approximately 800,000 law enforcement officers serving in communities across the United States, including the dedicated members of the Sunbury Police Department. And whereas since the first recorded line of duty death in 1786, over 24,067 law enforcement officers in the United States have made the ultimate sacrifice and been killed in the line of duty. And whereas the names of these dedicated public servants, for whom we should all be forever grateful, are engraved on the walls of the National Law Enforcement Officers Memorial in Washington, D.C. Whereas the new names of 136 fallen heroes will be added to the memorial wall later this year. Now, therefore, I, Mayor Joe St. John, do hereby proclaim May 12th through the 18th, 2024 to be National Police Week in the City of Sunbury in honor of the men and women whose sacrifice, diligence, professionalism, and courageous deeds keep our city and citizens safe. Thank you. We have council come on here? Yeah. All right, thank you.
We gotta walk all that way.
Yeah, come on.
You should be on the end, Maureen. You're on the end.
Marie.
Yeah, yeah, outside. Sorry.
Here, should we go back? He's got the floating head.
Come on, like you like it.
Yes.
Bring it down a little bit more. There we go. 1, 2, 3. Right.
Thank you. Thank you, Chief. That's longer, thanks to your department. With Dale Wampler here tonight from our wastewater treatment plant. He's the supervisor. We also have Jacob Stockmaster, the supervisor of our Streets and Services Department. Thank you for being here, gentlemen. This is for you and your teams. Proclamation declaring May 19th through 25th, 2024 National Public Works Week in Sunbury. Whereas public works professionals focus on infrastructure, utilities, facilities, and services that are of vital importance to the sustainable and resilient communities and to the public health, high quality of life, and well-being of the people of the city of Sunbury. Whereas these utilities, infrastructure, facilities, and services could not be provided without the dedicated efforts of public works professionals who are responsible for building, improving, and protecting our nation's transportation, wastewater treatment, public buildings, parks, and other structures and facilities essential for our citizens. And whereas it is in the public interest for the citizens and civic leaders of Sunbury to gain knowledge of and maintain an ongoing interest and understanding of the importance of public works and public works programs in their respective communities. And whereas the year 2024 marks the 64th annual National Public Works Week, sponsored by the American Public Works Association and Canadian Public Works Association. Now, therefore, I, Mayor Joe St. John, do hereby proclaim the week of May 19th through the 25th, 2024, as National Public Works Week in the city of Sunbury. I urge all citizens to join with representatives of the American Public Works Association and their Sunbury neighbors to participate in activities, events, and ceremonies designed to pay tribute to our public works professionals, engineers, managers, and employees, and to recognize the substantial contributions that they make to designing, building, and maintaining our public assets and advancing the quality of life for all of our residents. Thank you. The roads Great. All right, let's bring council up. Come on up. Thank you for that. All right, good deal. All right, let's see who's in tight. Can we see Dave?
I can see Dave.
Okay.
All right, ready? 1, 2, 3.
Thank you.
Oh. We have a great team, total team.
Agree.
All right, we're still on the visitor section. We're on to unscheduled visitors. Are there any unscheduled visitors at this point? Murray, we want to have Potts go during committee reports. Okay, great. Any visitors that would like to speak to city council? All right, we're moving on to committee reports, and let's go ahead and start with the fire department. Mr. Potts, Lieutenant Potts, correct?
Correct.
Hello. Thank you for being here, sir.
Chief's report pretty short this week. Plans for the new station on the Grassy Palms. The architect is now working on the construction drawings. We will be starting to choose materials that should be finished up soon. Bid documents can then be prepared, and bidding is expected to complete this summer with hopes to break ground sometime this fall. We had a smoke detector drive with Red Cross on May 4th, targeted Martin's area. 21 households, they made safer, 53 people were served, and 88 individual alarms were installed in homes at the target. The end of April, we had a car seat installation event at the station. Just as a reminder, we do have car seat techs at the station every day. So this is installation that can come up, we take care of that one. Just get ready for our PR events of Memorial Day for the July, it's not just our normal PR events. It's really all they have.
Good deal. Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Lieutenant Potts. Before we open it up for questions, just want to let you know, you don't have to stick around for the whole meeting, even if the chief had told you had to, or Murray did. Giving you the authority, we're going to proclamation for it. You can stay as long as you want. Any questions for Lieutenant Potts? All right, thank you very much for your
Thank you.
service. Have a great night.
Thank you.
All right, Mary Neff, we're still with you, sir. Any other committee reports?
Good, that's it.
All right, Mr. Mark. Ms. Cooper?
Nothing tonight.
All right, great. Thank you, Mr. Kaplan.
Nothing here.
Mr. Grumney?
Yes, we had a very productive finance meeting this evening, and in addition to our reconciliation and year-to-date comparison reports that we do every month, we had a quarterly investment review by Ms. Steffen. She did a very thorough job in going over our investment structure and possible outlooks beyond 2024 for consideration. So appreciate that. Also covered our RETA program as far as basically fund recovery. The mayor thanked Ms. Steffen for her very hard work on that. And just to let everyone know, we did not get a chance to hear the finance meeting. The city invested about $10,000 in the subpoena activity, and we netted about $223,000 in that activity. So a very good return on that investment. That was looking at 2017 through 2021 for non-filing of RETA, and then we're making plans to continue that program going forward. Just making sure citizens are aware that RETA is owed, and make sure we try to stay as up to date as possible on those collections. So, and then just a sewer rate update. We have a sewer rate of 3.5% increase every year that ended in January. And so it looks like we're going to go ahead and authorize, the plan is to anyways, authorize a rate study to see if that needs to continue, needs to be adjusted either upward or downward depending on demand. So, and I think that covers it.
Great. Thank you, Mr.
Yeah,
Grumney.
thank you.
Ms. Dre?
Nothing tonight.
All right, nothing from me either. Let's roll on. Police report. Chief Rob Howard.
Thank you, Mayor. Report's pretty short this week. Just a couple of things that aren't on here that I'll add is the new street sign that we ordered for traffic control came in today.
Great.
So it is now in the building, plugged in, charging, so we can use that for Memorial Day. We had a switch go out at the building. I texted them there today. We was out of phones, no internet. Wasn't sure if somebody had some fiber somewhere or whatnot, but it was the switch in the round top that went out. Tony from Edge was able to show up and had us up running probably within an hour and a half.
Sounds like that's better if it's on our side of the fiber fence than in the road or something.
Yes.
So that's good. Thank you.
For those who haven't seen the building lately, it is changing a lot daily. I mean, we're at a point now with that building that it is every day you can see the changes. So I urge you to stop back down, take another look. And that's about all I have, unless you guys have questions for me. And Marie, I promise you next month I will have your stats that you like to see.
I promise you the next training I'll attend. Maybe. That's shooting on the record.
A strong man.
You gotta say, I'm gonna leave that one alone.
I read what's going on here loud and clear. Static on this line. That's good. Thank you. Any questions for the chief? All right, we're on to the administrative report. Mr. Hennessy, the floor is yours.
So I just want to call out two things that are in the report before we meet again. The summer festival season begins. So next Saturday, the farmers market begins its run. So every Saturday through September, Saturday morning, the farmers market will be on the square. 27th, we'll have our standard Memorial Day market on the square. This is sponsored by Big Walnut Music and Marching Boosters, a fundraiser for them. So vendors, antique market, that type of thing, similar to what we've seen in the past. And we've talked about this a little bit before, but there is an annual celebration to salute our military veterans. This will begin at J.R. Smith Park. It'll move its way down Cherry Street to the Veterans Plaza and then down to Fallen Heroes and Sunbury Memorial Park. So a lot going to be happening next weekend. But again, this is just kicking off a summer's worth of activities in the city. So, and then the other thing I'll just point out, the mayor has referenced this a few times, the Joint Recreation District. We did have a meeting of 3 of the jurisdictions within the BST&G district. The Trenton Township representative was unable to attend, but the big takeaway from this meeting is we did agree to proceed with the exploratory committee. We are arranging a meeting to bring in a subject matter expert to begin to help facilitate next steps for the exploratory committee. So that should be happening here. I've sent some dates out. Hopefully in the next 2 to 3 weeks, we'll start to have that, or we'll have that meeting. So unless there are any questions, that's what I wanted to highlight. All right, thank you.
Thank you very much, Mr. Hennessy. We're on to the engineers report. Mr. Dan White, take the stand, please.
Thank you, Mayor and members of council. Full commentary as a officer and member of the board of directors of the local American Public Works Association. I'd just like to say, I'd like to thank Jake and Dale and the rest of the public works guys and acknowledge they are also first responders and nothing against. They work very closely with the fire and police, and I happen to only age myself here. I happen to see it during Hurricane Hugo in 1989. I was in South Carolina as an engineer for the state when the hurricane hit and installed a first response at the wastewater and water treatment plants along the coast. Saw them responding with the National Guard, the police, and fire during that emergency. And I saw them reacting to a tanker truck that exploded on 315 when I was with Worthington, and I've seen them in various storms. It's just amazing what those guys would put themselves through, and they've also got a number of my trucks. You know, they're out there on the highway working in very dangerous situations. Very, very admirable what they put themselves through in the office, unrecognized what they did. And actually, there's been a presidential order that's recognized them as first responders. A lot of what these guys do, and frankly, what engineers do, go unrecognized because it's all the underground stuff, the things we take for granted unless you turn on the water and it doesn't work. That shit. But anyway, I just wanted to acknowledge that all the first responders. I'm glad that we have weeks to dedicate to them to acknowledge what they do, because it does go unrespected very often. So back in engineering mode. I'm back to my boring engineering mode. I'm going to go through my longest report here.
I look forward to this part of the meeting the most, Dan.
The report's rather lengthy today. Unfortunately, I'm not like the others presenting a short report, so I'll try to be as brief as possible. The Reservoir Park, well, it looks pretty ugly right now. It doesn't look much like a park, but that's a reflection of the fact that there's a lot of work going on out there. The trails are being paved, the parking lot's getting worked on, and the civil pad being built for the benches. And waiting on the dock to be delivered, and I think you'll see things accelerate pretty quickly here in the next month or so. J.R. Smith Park, we've gotten a survey done and the geotech work is done. I think so, a few things I missed on here. So the next step is that's actually been done. We're ready to proceed with design on there. Pretty excited about moving forward with that project. The Walnut Street project, a unique project, and we're, I won't say struggling with design, but having fun with design on that because of the uniqueness of the soil stabilization, soil component of that project. Looking for
some vendors to assist with that, some just very niche contract type of work. Moving forward with that, hope to be able to present something to the services committee in the next few months. Little Walnut Creek Interceptor Sewer, I'm happy to report that we're fully engaged in final design on that, moving forward with that, and I would say within 60 days of this substantially complete plans for the sewer component of it. We're working with Rob Riley, the deputy county engineer, on the roadway component, working on some of the geometrics on the roadway portions of it, should be able to fully get engaged with the design on the roadway portions of that as well. Again, exciting to see something from that taking place. The traffic calming, have some plans to get that moving forward, and you'll see that being installed here this summer, as well as that was into it. The MS4 program, we'll say a little bit behind the times on that. We are due for the annual MS4 program annual report. MS4 stands for municipal. It's
Stormwater sanitary sewer system.
Sediment.
Yeah, whichever the S's,
Yeah,
whatever the S will create, but those are the.
so it's a stormwater system report that we're due for the EPA, and you're working on that at the same time doing our stormwater legislation. Items, so visualize it. That's your NC, I'll get to that. We've got our today, it was supposed to be yesterday, with advertising went and hit the streets for the no pun intended, for the street improvement program. It's supposed to be yesterday, but today we'll exactly advertise it Wednesday. So today.
You can just grab the mic, drop it on the floor, and you can add it on out. Good job, Dan.
Thank you. For the advertising of today, second advertising will be a week from today. Bids will be open to a week from then. Completion, we do have in there a completion date with a liquidated damages for North Miller Drive. Make sure we get that done in time for school with as much as we could for liquidated damages. There's some legal issues involved with that, so we applied that to the degree we could, but that date is August 14th. And then we asked for a substantial completion date by the contractor, September 3rd. And the streets that will be done are listed on the side there as well. On that side, I'm on the board. An engineer investment, it came in at $730K. We're confident that that will be we should get a good bid at that price, particularly if it's kind of see. Right of way legislation has been something that we've been looking at for a period of time now, and I'm hoping to bring forward some interesting, some legislation on that in the near future. And interestingly enough, I guess I didn't call it an argument, but I had a discussion with the public affairs official of Columbia Gas because I felt like we may not have some respect. Other field guys, smart ones now, the way they approach some of the permitting of that thing. I think we're enhancing our communication efforts with them, and we can get some better attention and see us now as who we really are as well. So set attention. They had a call veteran trying to back out of the department. They want some work at greater subdivision over there, and I returned their permits. Submittal, incomplete submittal, and return that to the consultant to, I guess, go there by copying the from the gas, and I got a call from them with some apology and stating we had a discussion and stuff. Doing better, and also including that discussion to start once the door hanger and the one more neighbor to start having some communication with the local neighborhood that we don't know what's going on. So it's showing up and digging up the streets going on, and of course focusing on that sort of issue. Your Honor, the Big Walnut Intermediate School Trail Plan has been nearly complete and will be done well within the time frame promised in our recent trial.
My goodness, wasn't it just last meeting that it was 11 months? And look at that miracle you just did.
We're
Good work.
looking to be able to get that done and do it in a way that will get it done quickly and less expensively. And that's partly because we're able to get a new engineer involved with that and get it done well. Stay tuned, hope we'll have it done in less than 3 weeks. I've included a couple other projects on there, the Millview Drive Storm Improvement Project, it's been hanging on for well over a year. I hope to have a contractor get on that this summer, as well as Greenbrier Road Drainage Improvement Projects, sort of a unique project that we're gonna have to talk about, but I think one of our young engineers has come up, and we had a couple contractors, myself, Jake, and some other guys out there looking at it. And the young guy came up with this solution, I think, that the rest of us didn't come up with, but we're gonna vet that, and maybe we can integrate that with the inexpensive approach to get that fixed. And the Granville Morning Street Storm Sewer Improvements, that will be I think a relatively minor fix that we can get implemented this summer as well. The General Rosecrans Elementary School crosswalk is more complicated just because of the pertinences involved with that. I think I said that word right. And we'll get it designed, but that over the summer, and hope to be able to get that installed. We're looking at some utility studies, not just on the north side, but other areas of the city as well. And we're letting that to the I'm sure in the next few months. As far as private development projects go, the remains of Meadow Ridge is popping along. We have reviewed the phase 3 and 4 plans and have those. I think they're ready to go on those. Not sure exactly what the timing is. I do have a typo on Granville Street multifamily project. I said that their construction activities commence soon, but as you well know, it has commenced. So actively working out there. Had a little bit of fun managing that. It's pretty heavy activity and trying to track it under control. We've had some staff with that. The rest of the subdivisions are
On that one, in particular, two things. One, they've ran into some soil issues. So if you're seeing starting, stopping in terms of site activity, that's what they're doing. They're addressing having to do extra compaction, doing what engineers and construction folks do, making sure that it's buildable. And then the other issue, related to construction, traffic management. We're going to work towards getting signage up, and chief, we're going to need some enforcement around there going forward. Once it's going to be a big focus area. I mean, that street's already pretty heavy with traffic. So
that's one way to traffic.
and to tie it way back to the whole traffic calming thing, I think we need to get the radar signs back up on Sunbury Meadows to do a last minute pre data, get the pre-data and then look at the post implementation. Dan, you love that, right?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, to see what the actual impact is once we make the traffic calming improvements. Can we do that?
Absolutely.
Okay, great. Sorry to derail there.
You're right, there are some issues with soils, a little too much, a little too little, and a little too bad. Kinder Crossing development, we've continued to work with developer on some potential changes to that layout, and I'm sure you'll see that back at planning and zoning within the next couple of months. The bank project has had some issues with some stormwater. I've been working with their engineer on that, and speaking of stop and go, that has been on hold for a little while while they're trying to work that out. A lot of credit to their engineer for I think he's been almost to a fault looking at making sure he's protecting health, safety, and welfare systems in the city. Because one of the solutions to take some water to a basin along Lake Miller Drive that potentially, if he had done what a lot of engineers have done, it could potentially create some flooding in Lake Miller Drive. He was very reluctant to do that without checking carefully. And he did check it, and it may have created a problem. He came up with an alternate solution, and I have a lot of respect for knowing that a lot of people would not, a lot of engineers would not have done that effort applying for doing so. Ohashi and
Hitachi, which I misspelled, memo. Although under one site expansions, I got a very important smell from Hitachi yesterday. We began planning to do on that, and Hitachi has a meeting with them. And it looks like we've had a lot of right of way permits. And we have, but that's also because I forgot to do that. Little more, really was reality. But you'll see the note there at the bottom, part of what we're working with Columbia Gas is the potential to instead of doing each one of these individual permits per lot, and they kind of get 2 or 3 a day, sometimes more coming in, which tends to be a little onerous, cumbersome. We're talking about only that blanket permitting type of approach, which I think will lead to hopefully to a higher quality and better approach. So we're contemplating going that way. Well, we do that or not, that leads also to a way, but permitting legislation. That is my report. I'm happy to answer any questions.
Got one question. On your street repairs, it has been pointed out to me that there is a drain that has sunk very low down to the pavement or blacktop on South Vernon Street in front of Dunkin' Oil. Is that part, will this street improvement cover that drain? Does it go that far?
I couldn't tell you without.
Okay, because the water, when the water drains, the drain has sunk so far down that
Is it in the road?
right off to the side of the road, but yes, it is part of the existing road there. But
I couldn't tell you without taking a look at it. I don't recall it being part of what we've done for design, so I'm thinking probably not. I'm thinking it's outside of the way. Sure.
okay, well, it's in front of Dunkin' Oil, and some of the water, when it rains, it's draining next to the grate instead of down into the grate.
Take a look at it.
I will pass that along.
Any other questions? Great job, Dan. Thank you so much.
Thank you.
Appreciate it. All right, team, we're on the resolutions. We have no resolutions. Mr. Grumney, Mr. Capel, Mr. Piper, Mr. Martin. We wanted to take a moment to recognize that. Ordinances, no third readings. We do have a second reading. Ordinance number 2024.11, an ordinance approving the application of Sunbury Land Company LLC to rezone approximately 706.2 plus or minus acres of property owned by AEP Ohio Transmission Company, Inc., David B. Cockrell, Curtis J. Cockrell, Glenn F. Hale, trustee located south of US 36, State Route 37, north of Vans Valley Road, from not zoned to limited industrial district pursuant.
Can I ask a question about this?
Can I finish reading the ordinance?
Yeah, I thought you did.
Pursuant to the City of Sunbury zoning code and declaring an emergency.
Well, you paused and I thought you were done.
That's a lot of words, Dave. I haven't seen you read that much.
Well, I was concentrating on the first page of it, so, yeah.
I forgive you.
Okay. US 36 turns left at Cherry Street and Route 3 and follows Route 3 to Mount Vernon and then turns another direction up there. So it is not anywhere close to this property. So it is State Route 37 out that side of town, but it's not US 36. So I didn't know, that kind of confuses the issue a little bit. If you want to maybe reword how that's written.
Clean that up before the third reading.
Okay.
Thank you for pointing that out.
Yeah, that's a good point, Dave.
I'm sorry I interrupted you though.
Oh, no problem. Forgive you. That's a good catch. Be serious. We do need to get that on the list of accomplishments. That was good. It's a good deal. We're still on the second reading. Any questions, comments on this one? All right, let's go to first readings. Ordinance number 2024.12, an ordinance authorizing the expansion of the city's Community Reinvestment Area number 041-58618-01 and amending City Resolution number 2006-04 and declaring an emergency.
Yeah, so maybe just a little bit of context, because this is the first time I think you've seen this. So as you may recall, the earlier this year, or I'm sorry, late last year, we had executed an agreement with our school districts to talk about providing community reinvestment area support for the purposes of attracting economic development to the east side of Sunbury. So in order to do that, you've got to be a part of the area, or the subject property needs to be a part of the community reinvestment area. So what we've done, or what this ordinance would do, is extend the existing CRA zone for the city to include all of the land that's been annexed to the east side of Sunbury. So in the packet, there is a map that shows you what the current CRA area is, what the new area would look like, and then collectively what the total new CRA area would be for the city. So not asking for action this evening, just again teeing this up for some consideration later. Questions or comments? All right,
Questions or comments? All right. First reading ordinance number 2024.13, an ordinance determining that the petition for the creation of the Sunbury East New Community Authority complies with the requirements of the Ohio Revised Code section 349.03, fixing the time and place for a hearing on the establishment of the Sunbury East New Community Authority and declaring an emergency.
This is as kind of described in the title, a new NCA for the east side. And again, as a part of our economic development efforts out there, we've endeavored to form an NCA. This is what the petition looks like. So as you know, these NCA petitions are rather meaty. They've got a lot of data in them, but this is the petition that starts the process, the ordinance that starts the process. You pass this, then it goes forward to a public hearing. The public hearing date was left blank. We have determined what that public hearing date will be. I'd like for you to entertain a motion to set that hearing date, and that also coincides with your next or your second council meeting in June. It's scheduled to fall on Wednesday, June the 19th, which is Juneteenth, which is a holiday. So we've discussed moving the council meeting forward one day to Tuesday, June the 18th. Assuming that's council's prerogative, I'd like to have a motion to vote to insert June 18th, 7:30 p.m. as the date for the public hearing on this NCA petition.
Make the motion.
Second.
Second by Mr. Capel. Discussion? Roll call.
Mayor St. John,
Yes.
Mr. Capel,
Yes.
Ms. Strayer,
Yes.
Mr. Neff,
Yes.
Mr. Grumney,
Yes.
Ms. Cooper,
Yes.
Mr. Martin,
Yes.
7 yeas.
And with that, there's some. Go ahead. You have a question?
No, go ahead.
With that, there are some pretty tight timeframes when it comes to this because of the longevity of the total process. We are looking for action tonight on this. Again, this would allow it to move forward to the public hearing process, potentially get this NCA up and running. This is one of the tools we use for economic development. NCAs are used to establish charges, which are additional charges the developers pay to help us pay for things like infrastructure. This benefits us. They agreed to do it. It's part of what we require them to do. It's what we require them to do in the interchange area. It's what we're requiring them to do on the east side. Again, you talked about the CRA. That's where there are economic incentives given to them in the form of tax abatements, and the school has approved those. This is additional taxes that they've agreed to pay to help supplement our need for public infrastructure. So we want to get this moving forward. We're asking for action tonight, and we do need this to be by an emergency.
And if I just want to, or if I could add one more item, I did want to know, I did receive a comment from a member of the public regarding the sufficiency of the petition. This is Mr. Holler, who, as you know, follows the NCA process pretty closely. He had expressed a little bit of concern that the financial plan didn't include all the details of what the initial investments would look like. I told him I would share that with you. However, the initial investments are identified in the packet. The amounts are not identified. The amounts are not identified because they're not known at this point. So some of the items that they've at least identified as initial investments would include some of the water reuse project that we've been talking about up to this point. And so, like I said, there's no number known. So the fact that it's blank, I don't think is an indication that it's insufficient. It's just that it's still to be determined. So I did at least want to share that. He had asked me to share that with the group. So, but beyond that, I think we're ready to move forward.
Mr. Ring, could I ask you just a good question for my own education? What's and again, I don't know, why a public hearing for the creation of an NCA versus just council action?
Well, I mean, there are lots of things that require a public hearing. A change of zoning requires 2 public hearings.
Right,
You know,
okay,
you're creating a new entity. An NCA is a quasi governmental entity.
yeah,
It's a big thing.
yeah,
So that's why.
okay,
And it's by statute. It's not something we're requiring. It's what.
yeah, with the stand, okay, very good, thank you.
And just, this ordinance, all we're doing is approving setting a hearing, right?
Yes.
And this is just part of the NCA creation process. I remember going through this in the Sunbury Parkway NCA when Ravines at Meadow Ridge was coming through, and there are quite a few ordinances related to this to actually enact the NCA.
I mean, this petition is followed by the developer.
Right.
On behalf of property owners.
Right. Yeah, self-imposed. They're coming to us and saying, hey, we want to create a mechanism to pay for infrastructure. We want to pay a certain amount of millage for these public improvements or public facility.
In today's realm, development, especially big development, diversified development, limited industrial development like this there are a lot of moving pieces, and this is just one. There's another one on the agenda tonight. We had the one with the schools last year. There's a third one on the agenda tonight with the rezoning of this property. There's just a lot going on. This is part of it. It's our requirement, once we receive the petition, to pass this and then move forward to a public hearing. And that's what we're doing, is what we're legally required to do.
Make a motion to suspend the rules.
Second.
Second by Mrs. Cooper. Discussion. Roll call.
Mayor St. John,
Yes.
Mrs. Cooper. Yes. Mr. Martin,
Yes.
Mr. Grumney,
Yes.
Mr. Neff,
Yes.
Ms. Strayer,
Yes.
Mr. Capel.
Yes.
7 yeas.
I'll make a motion to, on the emergency, excuse me.
I'll second.
We got a second by Mrs. Cooper. Discussion. Roll call.
Mayor St. John,
Yes.
Mrs. Cooper. Yes. Mr. Martin,
Yes.
Mr. Grumney,
Yes,
Mr. Neff,
Yes.
Mrs. Strayer,
Yes.
Mr. Capel.
Yes.
7 yeas.
All right, I'll make a motion on the ordinance 2024.13.
I'll second.
Second by Mrs. Cooper. Discussion. Roll call.
Mayor St. John,
Yes.
Mrs. Cooper. Yes. Mr. Martin,
Yes.
Mr. Grumney,
yes,
Mr. Neff,
Yes.
Ms. Strayer,
Yes.
Mr. Capel.
Yes.
7 yeas.
All right, we're on to doing a new and unfinished business social media policy. Looking for action.
Yeah, we didn't talk about it, I think, too much at the last meeting, but it is still out there. So I don't know if council members had questions about it. Again, this is, we have new forms of media today than we had in the past. We had a policy as it related to Facebook accounts, but we've got, remember what they are? Instagram,
Instagram, LinkedIn.
all of them. That's
They're in
right.
charge of them.
Yeah, no, I'm not. I'm not, yet you can tell. So.
From an administrative standpoint and a legal standpoint, we would anticipate that this is a policy that would be revisited annually or biannually, because it's just evolving so quickly. This at least brings us up to snuff to where we need to be as of now. But 6 months from now, we may need something else. We may need to revise it. This is kind of like your council rules. It's not the last time you can ever address this. If you have concerns or questions or things moving forward that you want to address, let staff know, and we can look to revise the policy to accommodate those as well.
I'll make a motion to approve the social media policy.
Got a motion by Mrs. Cooper to approve the policy. I think she also said to reduce our risk and enhance our posture in the community. Second by Mr. Neff. Discussion. Roll call.
Mrs. Cooper.
Yes.
Mr. Neff,
Yes.
Mr. Grumney,
yes,
Mr. Martin,
Yes.
Mr. Capel,
Yes.
Ms. Strayer,
Yes.
Mayor St. John.
Yes.
7 yeas.
Good work, team. All right, we are.
I was gonna say, before we go to the executive session, I do think we want to clean up the June council meeting.
Yes.
We can at least have the vote again. So it's currently scheduled for June 19th. We're proposing to move that to June 18th, both the council meeting and the committee meetings that evening.
I'll
Finance.
make that motion.
We got a motion by Mr. Martin. Second by Mr. Capel. Discussion? Roll call.
Mr. Martin,
Yes.
Mr. Capel,
Yes.
Mr. Ayer,
Yes.
Mayor St. John,
Yes.
Mr. Neff,
Yes.
Mr. Grumney,
Yes.
Mrs. Cooper.
Yes.
7 yeas.
And we are having a third meeting this month as well. I mean, it's
Yes.
standing unless you eliminate it, so you don't have to take action, but just for discussion, wanted to bring that up.
Is there a need for it?
Yes.
Okay.
Yes,
Yes, we'll keep it. That's Memorial Day week, right?
it is.
Will everybody be here?
Thank you.
I think I leave the
Day
day after. I think I leave the day after, so I should be here. I
What was the day after? We heard a hard commitment from you. Thank you.
I will just disappear to Texas.
You will maybe be there.
Murray's waiver.
We're gonna have,
That's a yes within. I will commit to it.
we're gonna have about 5-ish. That's my estimation. If we drop below 5 though, I need to circle up. All right, good deal. Okay, would you mind if I did new and unfinished business before we go into executive session? Mr. Ayer, any new and unfinished business?
No, but I do have just a quick question, and I should have asked it before of David. That huge packet that you have there. Are you on board with everything
Yes, we've reviewed it, and we also have outside counsel, bond counsel reviewing it as well. I mean, there are a lot of things that statutorily have to be on here. I mean, there's tons of maps, our whole, the zoning code provisions that are, I mean, there's just a lot of stuff.
Because we don't really see that.
You're welcome to.
We're relying on
We
you.
will see that.
I was gonna say, it is online.
Yeah, it's
So for, and anybody who goes to the council agenda on the city website, the entire packet is there. So,
And that's what the public hearing and what we're reviewing, right? I mean, tonight's ordinance
Yeah.
is we're setting a meeting to have a public hearing to review that document.
Thank you.
Okay. Good question. Anything else? All right, Mr. Grumman?
No, I didn't. Thanks to Chief Howard for setting up the police exercise. That was eye-opening and certainly adds another level of appreciation for what officers do every single day. I have no idea what they're walking up on. So thanks again for allowing me to be a part of that and everyone else. So thank you. I was apparently too nice, so I probably would have been taken to the ground. I don't know. All right.
That was awesome. Sir, please.
Stop giving me the stink eye and just get.
It's like, sir, I don't want to get pulled over. Okay, let me go back to the car and think about it.
I didn't want to stop you.
I recruit Dana.
It's good. Yeah. She's like, you've broken all the laws.
Downtown.
Going downtown. Oh, that was good. Amazing. Thank you for saying that. Mr. Capel?
Nothing tonight.
All right, this is good.
Yeah, I was just gonna say the same thing and you all might not know, but Chief's been working on getting that together for I'd say 4 years. COVID hit and so that took him off and then there was changes and then, you know, new employees and it wasn't a priority for a long time, but it was really important to Chief and I'm glad that a lot of us were able to make it. And it was very interesting. I know a lot of work goes into putting on something like that, getting your officers there, doing different scenarios for all of us. So Google told me that in the state of Ohio, there's no age maximum to join the police academy, right? So there's still potential we all could do it. Okay. I just want to keep that open. That's all.
Mr. Martin?
I just wanted to let everybody know that Myers Inn across the street on Memorial Day will be open from 8 AM to 4 PM for anybody that wants to do a tour through there.
Awesome, thank you.
Mhm.
Mr. Neff?
Yeah, I was able to go to the fishing reservoir earlier this week on training day. And the ramp, I mean, that was really nice. I mean, it's looking awesome back there. So thank you for all of your due diligence, making that starting to come to fruition. It's definitely a nice feature. All right, that's it. I'm done.
Thank you very much. All right, I had just 2 items. On last Friday, I was able to go to the Big Walnut Intermediate School and speak to all the fifth graders. I was there for about 3 or 4 hours back to back. And it's called Tide Week. They bring in parents, but it's also, I mean, professionals. And my kid was telling me, like, leading up, like, Dad, there's this guy that's like designing robots to, do heart transplants. I'm like, holy smokes, like, how am I supposed to come in on this? And then he's like, yeah, and the kid's mom is like the director of wastewater treatment for the city of Columbus, and she's doing all the scientific experiments. I'm like, dang, man, I set the bar way high. But I honestly, if there's one part about like this job, and I expect, like, I remember doing it as a council member too. It's like going and seeing the excitement and like the questions that kids ask, and they ask all the right questions. Like, why are you tearing down my trees? And I'm like, oh, that's like not how it works. We got to back up a little bit. But they ask the hard questions, and but when they're asking for your autograph too, and you want to get pictures and shake your hand, and then the excitement of, I know my kids talking about other parents coming in. I expect that they're going home and saying, wow, like I met the mayor. So it was an honor to do that. The other 2 items I wanted to mention, and I didn't realize these were on the engineer's report. Maybe they have been for some time, but Ohashi and Hitachi. I won't talk too much about Hitachi at this point, but Ohashi, the business right here on Burr Drive, is looking to do an expansion. Daryl and I met with them in Jobs and Family Services. Is that right? Yeah, basically like workforce development, One Columbus, Delaware County Economic Development. I mean, these are big time suppliers for Nissan, Toyota, Honda vehicles. Their operations are so impressive. I got to do a full tour of Ohashi. It's super impressive. They're looking to expand pretty significantly and basically max their site out. We're trying to facilitate a solution. But recently, this past week, went and met with Hitachi. I'm going to have to schedule a separate tour because we spent an hour and a half on getting a full company overview and what they want to do. For those of you who don't know, Hitachi Astemo, former Showa, I think they went by a name even before that, has been in our community since the late 1980s, right? And has gone through, I think, 5 significant expansions over those years. So I'm sure back in the day when this was all cornfields and they were talking about, hey, let's do a TIF. And folks were probably like, you know what, like that seems really risky and you're giving away tax dollars. And like looking back now, they're our #1 employer. And the growth that they're seeing, and they're not just they're not looking to expand just for the fun of it. Like they are maxed out on space. They produce all the struts for Can-Am products, BRP, which is like the Bombardier products. Every single Harley Davidson, I can say this, I got confirmation. Every Harley Davidson on the road, the struts and the forks are produced in this plant right here, nowhere else in the world, which is super impressive. That was one of their latest expansions, was the two-wheel division is what they call it. And they have some really, I'm going to respect their confidentiality because it did say confidential on some of their items, but they have some really exciting things in the pipeline and are going to be able to do continue to grow in our community. And I'm really excited about it. So both of those companies, so well run. When you walk into the building, I mean, you would never think you're in a factory. It's so clean, so organized. And that they have a huge focus on workflow optimization. So love that they're in our community.
I've heard they're really great to work for.
Oh my gosh. Their senior managers we met with, I mean, their average tenure was like 21 years. Like it was two of the folks that we met with opened up the plant and have been there and kind of risen through the ranks. I think the lowest number of years was 18 years or something, 17 years, something like that we met with. So totally agree.
Will you be getting a Harley then for your birthday this summer?
My wife said, if we have kids, you can't have a motorcycle. So I sold the bike. I chose, but all right. I think we do have a need to go into executive session. Could there potentially be action coming out of this executive session?
I do not think there will be.
I don't think so either. All right, so for the public, we are going to be going into executive session. Don't expect to take action after this. I'd like to make a motion to enter executive session per Ohio Revised Code 121.22G2 to consider the purchase of property for public purposes, the sale of property, competitive bidding, or the sale or other disposition of unneeded, obsolete, or unfit for use property in accordance with section 505.10 of the revised code if premature disclosure of information would give an unfair, competitive, or bargaining advantage to a person whose personal private interest is adverse to the general public interest. I think we'll need probably Daryl and Dave. That's about it. And everybody else, have a good evening.
I'll second your motion.
We got a second on the floor by Mr. Martin. Discussion? We're going to do a roll call.
Who moved and seconded, Mr. Martin?
Yeah.
Mr. Martin,
Yes.
Ms. Cooper,
Yes.
Mr. Romney,
Yes.
Mr. Knapp,
Yes.
Mayor Snyder,
Yes.
Mr. Ennis,
Yes.
Mr. Capel.
Yes.
70.
5-minute public.
Thank you.
All right, we've got a motion to reconvene.
Motion to reconvene.
A motion by Mr. Martin, second by Joe St. John. Discussion. Roll call.
Mr. Martin,
Yes.
Mayor St. John,
Yes.
Mr. Neff,
Yes.
Mr. Grumney,
Yes.
Mrs. Cooper,
Yes.
Ms. Dreyer,
Yes.
Mr. Capel.
Yes.
7 yeas, we're back in public session.
Motion to adjourn.
Second.
Actually, Mr. Capel got it first. Mr.
I'll
Martin,
second.
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 Thank you, Mr. Martin. Discussion.
Deferred
Roll call.
Capel,
Yes.
Mr. Martin,
Yes.
Ms. Dreyer,
Yes.
Mayor St. John,
Yes.
Mr. Neff,
Yes.
Mrs. Cooper,
Yes.
Mr. Grumney.
Yes.
7 yeas, we are adjourned.
Thank you. Thank you, everyone.
Yep.
It said